Thanks for listening to Gossip with Celebrity, brought to you by Celebrity.com. This week, we talk about the Royals. We end with our weekly feature, The Comments of the Week. The stories, photos, and tweets we talk about can be found at Celebrity.com/podcast under episode 151. Hi, I'm Katie, the founder and editor of Celebrity.com, and I write as Celebrity.
And I'm Chandra, I'm the head writer for Celebrity, and I write as Kaiser.
So we were off for 3 weeks, which was nice.
Yeah, we were off for most of April. It was awesome.
Yeah, we needed a break after all the awards and everything. And then I think we're going to have episodes for the next 2 weeks, but like next week is the Met Gala and the coronation, so we might not. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to cover the coronation. I don't know the extent to which I'm going to like cover every little thing, but we're going to cover the coronation.
That's next Saturday. But I don't know if we're going to have a podcast out next week because like we release it Saturday and that's the day of the coronation. So do you want to skip? I know we didn't discuss it yet.
We can skip if you want. It doesn't matter to me. I think that we'll genuinely have news next week and we'll have stuff to talk about. Even beyond the Met Gala, you know, we can just play it by ear.
Yeah, we'll play it by ear. The Met Gala is a lot to cover. So we'll see what happens the next couple weeks. But so while we were off, I watched Yellowjackets, and I'm all up to date on that. They're not having a new episode out this weekend because it's like the mid-season, and then they're going to have another episode next weekend. I like it, but I don't love it.
Yeah, you know, I tried to get into it in the first season and I just couldn't.
It is a lot.
I was having real problems understanding the younger actresses and who they were playing, their older contemporaries.
Oh, that's tricky, the first episode, yeah.
Yeah, I was having real trouble with that. And like the violence and the blood and the whatever. I'm not into that kind of stuff. As soon as they show a super realistic, like broken leg, I'm like, yeah, I'm out. I'm not doing any of this. Yeah,
there is a lot of gore in that show. There's a lot of gore, a lot of violence. So you figure out by like the second episode, and during the first episode, I was looking up who everybody played. Like I was like, okay, I'm gonna figure this out. So I just looked at my computer and saw the actresses.
That feels like homework. It feels like homework, and I can't do it. And plus the gore. I'm not gonna do Yellowjackets. But God bless. I realize that a lot of people love that show.
Oh my God, the music is fabulous. It's all the music we listened to in the 90s. And it's like Tori Amos, Portishead, you know, it's just fucking excellent, excellent music. So that kind of keeps me going. But the characters are pissing me off and they're making terrible decisions. But I'll keep watching it. I'm invested in it now.
Yeah. And whenever I read anything about it, it's like so-and-so is a psychopath. I'm like, well, it sounds like they all are.
Yeah, they're all kind of wacky in their own ways. And we're both watching Ted Lasso. I'm all caught up now. And I'm like, what is happening with Ted Lasso? Like, you'll have these scenes that are fabulous and other scenes you're like, what are they doing with that character? It's very weird.
So Jezebel wrote this piece several weeks ago, and it kills me how accurate it was. Ooh. It was basically like, you can tell that Ted Lasso is being written by a man going through the equivalent of a divorce, you know, because he and Olivia Wilde weren't technically married, but they're still having this ugly custody battle and like financial battle. And like, you can tell from the way Ted Lasso is written that it's a guy going through a major breakup.
That's a good point. I looked it up. This last episode was primarily written by a woman, which surprised me because there was some stuff that seemed very male oriented, but I guess it's a whole team of people.
Yeah, they have a writer's room.
Yeah.
That Brett Goldstein, he's one of the big writers on the show. And
yeah.
But the whole storyline about Ted Lasso's ex-wife, I like that they show him doing the work of still, you know, doing like phone therapy and co-parenting and like all of that. I appreciate that, but there's such a lack of understanding of the wife's position, the ex-wife's position. You're only seeing it through Ted Lasso's perspective, and no other character is like that. You know, like each character gets their own thing. You get to see their rationale for doing everything, except the ex-wife.
That's a really good point. It's losing me a little bit. I'll watch it till the end because it's only this one season. But if it had another season and it was like this, I don't think I would stick with it.
Yeah, and I just feel like the Keeley situation is really half-baked.
It really is. Like, we don't have to get into it because it's a little bit new and it might be spoilery for people. But I don't like what they're doing with her.
Well, Succession is another spoilery kind of show, but it is so good. This is the final season for Succession as well. And like they are killing it episode after episode.
Excellent.
The writing is so sharp. The performances are so incredible. I think Succession's final season will sweep the Emmys.
Okay.
As it should.
Yeah, I watched the first and third episode with my son because he just started getting into it and he really likes it and can't stop watching it. So
you saw the third episode of, the big thing that happened.
I saw the season 1. He's on season 1 because he just started it. So yeah, I know the big thing that happened. Like, I think that was all over the internet and people couldn't avoid it, but
I was so glad that they did it early in the season so that we could actually see the kids dealing with it.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say.
All right, let's talk about the Royals. So while we were off, we heard that Harry's going to the coronation by himself and that he's only going to the hat ceremony.
Yeah, he's not going to the lunch or the concert or anything else. Going to just the hat ceremony.
Crowning. Yeah, I like how you put that. It cracked me up when I first read that. And, there was so much lead up to that about whether Meghan would go, whether they would bring the kids. And their children weren't even invited. And they didn't want Meghan to come. They wanted to claim that she's snubbing Charles, but they're like relieved that she's not coming.
Yeah, they're all over the place. If you ask me, I think Charles got exactly what he wanted. Meghan and the kids stayed in Montecito, and Harry is coming to see his father. Now, I think everyone else is upset that, like, it looks like Meghan made the choice on her own not to come because she didn't want to be around any of those people. It makes Charles look like an asshole that he didn't really throw out the welcome mat for Meghan or the kids.
He's worked to exclude her at every stage of Harry's relationship with her.
Exactly.
And she's supposed to still come.
He's a dog shit father. Yeah. He fucking sucks as a father-in-law. He doesn't even want to spend time with his grandchildren. He's just a piece of shit.
He really is. There's also William and, speaking of pieces of shits.
The piece of shit apple didn't fall far from the piece of shit tree.
Yeah. He's very much like his father. And, he's still so mad at Harry. And he was mad at Harry before Harry revealed that William got that big settlement from newsgroup newspapers in 2020. And he was like super mad. Now he's even madder, as if that's possible.
To hear sources close to William tell it, he's been incandescent with rage for the past 4 years. Solid, straight.
Yeah.
Every single thing that Harry does, William rages at his friendliest journalists and says, there's no coming back from this. He'll never speak to Harry again. He won't even look at Harry. I hate Harry so much.
Yeah. That is accurate depiction of what these stories are saying.
It's been like that for years. And now it's just a new thing that William is mad about. So let's get into the new thing that William is mad about.
So, yeah, Harry is suing newsgroup newspapers, and that's the Rupert Murdoch-owned papers, and they publish the Times of London, the Sunday Times, and the Sun. And this is one of the 3 media companies that he's suing, because he's also suing the Mail, which is Associated News.
Yeah, something like that.
And in this lawsuit, he recently submitted legal documents for it that are public now, revealing that his brother accepted this settlement from them in 2020, and it was substantial. And this is, unacceptable that William revealed this. I mean, but it was relevant to his case. Yeah,
it was extremely relevant. So also, when we're talking about newspapers, they were the former owners of News of the World, which was the biggest British tabloid until they shut down in 2011 because of all the phone hacking stuff. The Leveson inquiry.
Yeah.
And so they just shut it down. News of the World. And then Murdoch's organization just blamed everything on News of the World. They said the phone hacking, we cauterized it. That's all that happened there.
Yeah.
It happened at News of the World. It didn't happen at The Sun. It didn't happen at The Times. We dealt with it. We shut down the newspaper. Don't talk to us.
Yeah.
And Harry is arguing, no, The Sun hacked into Meghan. They got her social security number. They're hiring private investigators to investigate her and all this stuff. So Harry is saying, like, it didn't just stop in 2011 or 2012. And yeah, he revealed the big thing of William accepted a settlement in 2020. I couldn't really follow when William actually started the legal proceedings against NGN. I'm not sure if Harry knows or if I just haven't seen it in the documents yet.
Yeah.
But the settlement was in 2020.
So the Rose Hanbury story was 2019 when William threatened to sue everybody. And it may or may not be related to this. You know, it might have been an earlier thing that he was suing them over.
Yeah, my gut says that the settlement was technically for all of the hacking of William and everyone else back when William was in his 20s, basically, and when he was a teenager.
Yeah.
Like, they were constantly getting into William's voicemails and Harry's voicemails and, like, tracking Kate and tracking Chelsea Davies. And, yeah.
And they hired a lot of private investigators and dug into their medical records, and that was their MO. And then in Harry's legal documents, he also revealed that there was some kind of backdoor deal between the senior royals and News Group in 2012 after the Leveson inquiry. And it was like a quid pro quo, like in exchange for positive coverage, something like that.
Yeah, this is confusing to me as well, because Harry's explanation of the undercover deal that was made was basically like the Windsors agreed not to sue NGN until NGN had dealt with everyone else that was suing them, basically.
Oh, okay.
And in exchange, I'm sure NGN guaranteed them certain things. But basically, Charles was always of the position that he needed the media on his side. And he wasn't going to do anything that would piss off Rupert Murdoch or Lord Rothermere or anyone else, you know, that owned a magazine or a newspaper. So I understand that perspective of Charles being scared.
Yeah.
Charles never wanting to piss anyone off. What I don't really understand is why Queen Elizabeth would strike that deal in particular, like why she wouldn't want to at least quietly pursue some sort of justice, considering they were hacking all the phones of everyone in her family. But, you know, maybe at this point she was listening to Charles and saying, you know, like, we don't need the embarrassment.
I mean, she was in her late 80s at that point. I don't know if she's making decisions like that anymore.
Well, I think in 2012, yeah, she was. She was pretty sharp back then.
So Harry left all this out of spare.
Yeah.
Like, this must have been part of the 400 pages he was talking about that he cut. And he hinted at it and he talked about his issues with the press. But, you know, he definitely left it out. And this was a surprise to his family that he revealed that they made this deal and that William got this sum of money.
What I keep wondering is, how does Harry know about it? How did Harry find out about William's settlement?
Discovery.
Because there was nothing. There was nothing reported anywhere.
Could it have been?
There was not even a rumor.
Found out in Discovery?
You mean like, are Harry's lawyers really good and they figured it out? I don't think so.
Because can't they request, if the judge approves, to see related settlements? Like, it could have been something that it's just a legal thing they found out. Because that was another thing that the document said, right? They kept it from Harry, especially the fact that they had these dealings with the press because they knew Harry would go after them. And also Charles convinced Harry not to sue them in 2017, 2018.
Right. Well, Charles ordered him not to sue, to drop all these cases.
Yeah.
And Harry must have told his father to go to hell.
Especially because stuff was heating up against Meghan at that point. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Around the same time, Meghan was suicidal.
Oh,
because of the campaign being waged against her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, maybe Harry's lawyers are just that good and they found out about William's settlement. But I'm dying to know how he found out and when he found out.
Maybe we'll hear. That's interesting.
maybe he'll leave that for the second book. But yeah, I guess I am surprised that he left it out of Spare. I wonder if that was a compromise. Yeah, for legal reasons, especially because he took pains not to name certain people. He didn't name the senior courtiers. He didn't name Piers Morgan. Yeah. He used euphemisms.
It was a really easy blind item.
Called him like a thumb or something.
Yeah. And we also heard that Meghan and then Prince Charles exchanged letters after the Oprah interview, where Charles wrote to her first saying, he was upset that she talked about an unnamed senior royal speculating about the color of their baby's skin. And then she wrote back to them, and I guess they had some, semi-warm exchanges about it, but nothing was resolved, of course.
And hilariously, Meghan never revealed that. She never spoke about it in the Netflix series. She never spoke about it in interviews that she exchanged letters with now King Charles. They were waiting for her to reveal that.
And she didn't. They probably baited her with it. And then they blamed her for supposedly revealing it. And she issued a statement saying she didn't.
Yes. So think about how hilarious it was that they accused Meghan of leaking it. Like, Meghan is calling up her allies at the fucking Telegraph.
No.
And like, by the way, Charles, wrote to me, and here's the context of the letters, and here's why it makes him look really good. Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, no.
So Buckingham Palace leaked the shit. And then what I am not 100% on is who called up all of the royal reporters like Valentine Lowe and like Emily Andrews and Rebecca English and all of these reporters who are like, they all started parroting the same talking point of Meghan leaked it.
No.
And it was so obvious that it was coming from one of the palaces and one of the royal courts. I guess it was William.
So you think it was William because you think William was the royal racist. And I'm still kind of like divided. Like, I think it might be Camilla.
I think it was probably both.
Oh, yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
I think that there were so many conversations and so much racism. Now, I think Camilla is probably smart enough not to say it to Harry directly. William is stupid.
Yeah.
William is stupid and racist, and he would absolutely say that shit to Harry.
And he was telling Harry from the beginning not to date Meghan.
Yep. Yeah, I'm sure that Camilla said racist shit, but she just said it to her friends. Other people. And she said it to Charles.
Like she was gossiping about Biden farting, Like she's a gossip.
She's terribly indiscreet.
Yeah. So there was a line in the Telegraph's reporting about these letters that was in the original article, and then it was deleted in a subsequent version of that article. There was the sentence, quote, "The Duchess's letter is also said to suggest that she had never intended to specifically accuse the individual involved of being a racist, but was raising concerns about unconscious bias." And then there was another line that said, "However, it is understood that she does still consider the comment to be racist." And then that was deleted.
Yeah. And here's the thing, the whole unconscious bias shit, that's Harry's thing. It's not Meghan's thing.
Yeah, remember when he was talking about that after in the 60 Minutes addendum that came out where he was saying it was unconscious bias. He didn't say racism.
Yeah, he also said it in his interview with Tom Bradby. And like, that's his thing. He's like, there's a difference between racism and unconscious. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to most people of color. It doesn't matter to most people in general. Like, we can understand when something is racist. And Meghan can understand when something is racist as well. I think that this was a royal spin on what she wrote to Charles.
Yeah, because they leaked it to make Charles look good, and they don't want to have her calling him racist. Oh, she was talking to him. They got along great. He gets along great with his daughter-in-law. This is the only thing they have, is these letters. Well, they wrote some letters.
Because they certainly don't have any photos of their grandkids.
No. So. So we also got to see Meghan do an introduction for her friend Misan Harriman. How do you pronounce his name? He's a photographer.
I say Misan, but I don't know.
Misan. Yeah, he had a TED Talk, so she gave a little introduction to that, and we got to see screenshots from that. And then Harry and Meghan were at the Lakers game earlier this week in a private box. And they looked, like they're having a great time, and everybody was cheering for them when they went on the Jumbotron and stuff.
And they took the people in the private suite were all Archwell employees.
Oh, okay.
And they were all connected to the business.
I didn't know that.
Meghan and Harry.
Nice. So they brought everybody there for a party thing.
Yeah, a work party. And oh my God, the Daily Mail was tallying up all of the costs. The hot dogs cost this much. The popcorn cost this much. Harry's shoes cost this much.
Ridiculous.
How dare they? How dare they go to a basketball game?
Whose lives they're actually paying for, not Harry and Meghan.
Oh, but yeah, they looked great at the playoff game. And I mean, Meghan, the screenshots made her look a little bit like an alien, but they're just screenshots, and I don't think they were accurate.
Yeah, who knows? And she could have been using a weird filter or something on that. You don't know what the deal was.
Yeah, it looked like she had red highlights, but she looks great.
Yeah, she could have been using a filter. Did you see the video? Because I couldn't find the video anywhere. I just saw the screenshots of her.
No, I don't think the video has been released.
Yeah, so who knows what happened to those screenshots when we see the video. And she looked fine in the photos from the basketball game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She looked happy and healthy. And that pisses them off so much.
Right.
They've been crying for months. Where's Meghan? Why doesn't she support Harry? Why doesn't she go out in public with Harry? They go out in public. Why did she do that?
Right. She's keeping such a low profile. And then there's the story in GB News that Harry and Meghan are leading separate lives after that. It's opposite world there,
Well, so the woman who said all that shit about the Sussexes marriage, she's married to Piers Morgan.
Oh, yeah. What's her name? Let me look it up.
Celia Walden.
Oh, my gosh. Can you imagine? Oh.
Well, apparently she said some really fucked up things about marriage and her marriage specifically.
Ooh.
So she's not any kind of expert on healthy, happy marriages.
No, I would not expect Piers Morgan's wife to be.
Ooh, can you imagine?
Oh, no, I don't want to. And then
disgusting.
Piers Morgan was hanging out with Beatrice and Eugenie. What is up with that?
People are creating these big conspiracies about, Beatrice invited him and Eugenie was surprised. We don't know.
Yeah.
Piers Morgan is close to the Yorks. He's close to Fergie. He is close to Prince Andrew.
We know he's close with Camilla.
Yeah. They run in the same circles. They all scratch each other's backs. I think it's more than possible that Eugenie likes to keep Piers pretty close.
All right.
I know. It upsets me that Eugenie, more than Beatrice, that she was hanging out with Piers.
Yeah, that's not a good look.
Because he's a piece of shit.
He really is. The things he said about Meghan were despicable.
Yep.
Oh, so I've been trying to get more people to sign up for our mailing list. So I'm trying to grow the mailing list. I'll put a link in this post to sign up for our mailing list. I have the top 8 stories about Harry and Meghan looking loved up. I think the next one I'm going to make is the top 10. I'm not going to stick to 8 because it'll be hard to find just 8. Top 10 stories about Prince William being super mad about something like this. It's going to be hard though because there's so many. I had to pick 10 stories about the Waleses, Kate and William showing up empty-handed to things because there were so many stories I couldn't find just 8 to feature. So there's the top 10 stories about Kate and William showing up empty-handed, and I think there are going to be 10 stories about William being angry, but I'll do that next week sometime and link it.
Well, the thing about Will and Kate is that I only started putting empty-handed in the headline in recent years, because that's when they started all of a sudden visiting refugee centers and homeless shelters and all that. And I'm like, how are they consistently showing up empty-handed every single time?
Yes, and before that they were spreading COVID. Well, they didn't necessarily have COVID, but they were doing like, their choo-choo train maskless thing, pre-vaccinations. And then they were visiting first responders without like bringing anything to them, not even food. Like they're terrible.
The stuff that really bothers me is when they visit refugee children and they don't bring any toys or like
or clothes or anything. Oh, yeah. And this week, Kate went to the baby bank and she was like, oh, you need donations, really? Oh, my goodness. I can't imagine a charity needs donations.
And they were talking to her like she was 5 years old. Yes, Kate, we need donations, for the love of God.
Oh, my gosh. All right, let's move on to the comments of the week. So my comment of the week is on the post where Meghan Trainor said fuck teachers on her podcast. And then when people were like, you shouldn't say that, it's wrong, she apologized, but she like was overly solicitous and you could tell she was full of shit. It's like her excuse for that was that she was talking about school shootings or something, and also that she and her husband were bullied by teachers. It was just dumb. And Hecate wrote that story. And she wrote that 3 out of 4 of the writers have parents who are teachers. It's true. My parents were teachers. Your mom was a teacher. Her parents were teachers.
Yep. My mom was a public school teacher for years.
Mine too.
Teachers are so overworked and they are tired.
They are. My comment is from Bex1, and she said, school shootings aside, we're going to say F the people who are underpaid, underappreciated, overworked, and who just keep getting more and more added to their plates. Look, I've had some bad teachers. My kids so far have been lucky and really haven't, but I know there's always a first. But I feel like even a bad teacher is doing their best and didn't go into teaching thinking I'm going to be the worst teacher ever. They're all doing a job I know 100% I could not do. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. All right, my comment of the week is much more fun. So for the past week, this story has like heated up big time.
Yeah.
Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney were working in Australia for months on a romantic comedy. And the photos kept coming out of like, there were paparazzi shots from the set and then just paparazzi shots of like Glenn and Sydney hanging out, looking really friendly and looking affectionate and sexy, like they're kind of into each other
too. Oh my gosh. Yes, definitely.
And they kept posting photos of each other on their social media, and like they just did a video like of their trust fall and like her tits were almost coming out. It was really sexy actually.
Yeah.
But of course both of them have other partners, and Glenn Powell is with this girl named Gigi Paris, and I forget Sydney's fiance's name, but she's been with him for like 5 years. And so, like, everyone was like, so are they going to break up with their partners and get together? Because that's exactly what should happen. Right. And then this week, Gigi Paris finally, like, announced that, like, yeah, she and Glenn are over. And Tiffany, this is my comment of the week, Tiffany wrote, wow, who thought this would be the Triangle 2.0 of 2023? See, but Sydney Sweeney is a up-and-coming it girl. Like, she's not
I know Glenn Powell. Like, he's been in a lot of things. I recognize and know him, and I know Sydney Sweeney. So it is a fun, stupid drama. Nobody has any kids. Nobody's married. It's a fun cheating story.
It is. And people are like clutching their pearls. No cheating story is ever fun.
Oh, on.
This one's kind of sexy and fun, and it is low stakes.
And they're young,
Gigi Paris is a beautiful young woman. She's going to find someone else, someone who's not going to cheat on her with Sydney Sweeney.
I liked the post that she made where she's just walking away and she's like, know your worth. And she looks like kind of triumphant. I was like, damn, okay, that's how you handle a breakup. Not with like these sad ass memes, just fucking be like, bye, bitch,
Anyway, like, yeah, Sydney and Glenn were at CinemaCon this week and they looked like they were fucking.
The way she looked at him, like, ooh,
Yeah, he's been inside her.
Gross. I hate the way you phrase that. All right. Well, thanks for listening, bitches.
Thanks, bitches.
Thank you for listening to the Celebrity Podcast. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. If you like us, please turn off your ad blocker when you visit our site. You can text us or leave a voicemail at 434-218-3219. Our music is from AA Alto, Maiden, and via Premium Beat and Sound of Picture. Thanks again.
That was a good one.
Yeah, it was a good one.